Hello, everyone. Hope your day is going well. This is going to be my second devlog in regards to recreating the game Pong. I've decided to, instead of just upload a jumbled mess of whatever my brain wanted to do in a 30-minute video, I think it'd be better just to kind of segment it and make each devlog a um, have a dedicated purpose and goal. So today it will be just creating a menu. So I started off here just making all of the assets that I'm going to need. So I will need a separate room and I will need a sprite that I can assign the buttons to. So just following along with how I usually do things, because again, I am not an artist. We get the white border with the black background. Um, what I just set up here, this 9 slice option just allows me to scale the sprite however I want it. So again, I don't want my buttons to just be squares. I will make them into rectangles. And when you enable the 9 slice, this allows you to make them into any size square or rectangle you want without it looking all messed up. Then I set up some variable definitions here. Um, Default just set them to null, but when I place them in the room, I can change them on an individual object basis and give that and assign them a certain action. I did start with two here, text and action, but then I decided to just consolidate and make it all under just the action variable definition. So I will continue to set that up here. So if you release left click on your mouse, that will trigger the button to perform its action. I did originally have tap on there, if you noticed. That works with clicking and if you're on a mobile device, but for the sake of this game, it's I'm not gonna try to compile it and export it for Android. I don't want to get into why I can't even test it on iPhone. That's a whole separate thing that is a pain in the butt. But either way, we're just gonna keep it for PC right now. So here, this is kind of where I got my brain. Wait, why do I need two? Yeah, let's just go ahead and remove that. Because whatever I name the action as, I can also have it display as the text. I think that's a little bit more efficient. Maybe down the line it causes problems and I will need to have them separated, but for now, it's simple enough. So we are going to want to draw text on the button itself, but we also want to draw the button itself. So we need to put that draw self function first, and then do the draw text. This time it works. You notice that? Have you noticed that throughout the whole time of testing? When the game window comes up, you guys can actually see movement of the game, and it's not a still image. Um, Not that anything has moved yet, but trust. Here, I noticed it'd probably just be better to have a separate object that houses the code needed for the level to work, and then have the game object separate. So I was just duplicating that and then going in and edit it as I needed it to be. Again, this isn't really menu oriented, but it does help for the setup. So there's me testing it again. Look at that. You click play, it goes into the game window. Awesome. Perfect. Just what we wanted. So with that being said, looks like oh, that was the other thing. The text was drawing, I believe, starting on the left. I don't know what the default is actually. Either way, we want that to be centered, so the play is being drawn in the center of the button, not in the bottom right, and clipping out, which I guess the clipping out is just dependent on how I scale the rectangle. Uh, if I made it taller, yes, more height, then it wouldn't clip out. But either way, the text is being drawn at the origin I set for the sprite. So since it's middle center, that's where the text is going to start, and then you set the alignment. Here, look, I was being a good boy. I used a statement instead of an if statement. Uh, like I said, I've got some bad habits here and there, but I've got some decent ones as well. This is pretty much the only method I know personally. There could be a better one. If there is, hey, let me know. But just setting that up. Also trying to develop a good habit and just commenting to state what it's doing, um, because that's always good. What, options might mean to someone might mean different for another. Who knows? Heck, even play could mean something different. Maybe play is enabling your audio, play the audio. Who knows? So setting that up, making that look somewhat neat and tidy. Boom, there we go. We're happy with that. That works. So now we will. Why did I start making this? Oh, yeah. Um, so now I'm just kind of quickly coming up with a title, um, to be drawn towards the top of the room when you're on the menu screen. I did initially forget to state that it should only draw this when we're in the menu room, but that's okay. For now, we're naming it Whale Pong. That's the best I got. Take my name, cut it in half, slap the game name on there. Boom, easy. So drawing that, it was a little small, so I changed it to the transform function, which I can make it a little bit bigger. And then I remembered that anti-aliasing for default font is on. So create my own font, turn the anti-aliasing off, and it looks less blurry, I guess would be the good way to put that, or the best way to put that. Boom, there we go. Looks wonky, but at least it's more clear. I'd rather the wonkiness over the blurriness. So yep, here we go. Now I realized, okay, let's make sure it only draws when we are in the menu room and not when we're trying to play the game. Boom, look at that. Just test if it works real quick. Boom, you win. Okay, you win, but then what? I mean, you could press space to play again, but what if you just want to return to the title or something like that, especially if we have stats, you want to look at your stats. So let's go ahead and set that up. I believe, let's see here. A little bit of a slow moment for me here while I just think about how I want to approach this, because I had to think of the global variables that track the game in the background, whether or not you've lost, whether or not you've won, whether or not the game is what I was saying was active, which honestly, I think one of those variables we can just get rid of altogether. But that would be a separate video of optimizing session number 1, where I just go through and correct things and make them better, because the first time around is most likely not going to be perfect. So we're going to, in the object that I created that tracks the level code, I'm just saying here, if game over variable is true, we're going to deactivate the button, or sorry, if the game over variable is true, we're going to activate the button. So it's going to show up and we're going to be able to press it. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to press it, nor are we going to see it. And then I'm just going to slap the button in there. Boom, easy. Let's make sure we've got the variable set up. Started off with title here. Boom, make a new case for it in our switch statement. And then I realized it's not really a title screen. It's more of like a menu screen. Semantics, Semantics. Potato, potato. But my brain liked menu more, so we're going to change it to that. Boom. Then we're going to put in the code here to go back to our menu. Perfect. And then that looks like it works. As we come to the end of the devlog here, I know, much shorter than 30 minutes. We got a minute left. I just want to thank everybody that has been commenting on my TikToks and shorts, as well as my devlogs here. Hopefully this more short form video, instead of 30 minutes, 10 minutes, is more helpful, especially if it's more goal oriented and broken up and has an objective. Other than that, 10 seconds left. I'm running out of time. Appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in the next devlog. Peace.